So Jens, today we're going to be talking with Erik Bloomquist.
Yes.
Erik, are you here?
Right here.
Good to see you. So we're going to be talking about your movie Long Lost, but before we do that, let's introduce Rachel. She is our director of marketing. How many times have I screwed this up?
It's too long of a title. Let's cut your title.
Following the chat as usual, taking your questions for Erik and Steve and Jens, and chatting in a Facebook comment today. We're talking about suspense. It's very Halloween-y, and we're joined by Erik. And let's get started.
All right. Wow.
Okay, that is the first time I understood the suspense part of this. It just clicked.
You mean why we're doing
tomorrow's
this now?
Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this clip from Erik's picture, Long Lost, and then we're going to talk about it.
I guess there's a lot that I don't know.
Not really. Dad left, married your mom, and had you. Lost all his money in a pyramid scheme and put a pistol in his mouth. And now you're here. It's good to meet you, brother. Seth, this is Abby.
You know that NDA sign?
Yeah?
I have one too.
Then why would he bring me here?
Because he wants to know you.
Once my mother died, our little nuclear family was broken, so on to the next.
Brother Bear, hop in. I can't play sharks and minnows by myself.
Richard, did you just bring me up here so you could bust my balls?
Ooh, tough guy.
Richard.
Seth, I want to apologize if I came off a bit strong last night.
Which is a lot more fun when you're not sober.
I don't know what his deal is, but I'm not staying here to find out.
You gotta give me a chance to make it right. Take the money.
Give him a second chance. Just pretend like he's not the creepiest human.
I'm just trying to help Seth.
Abby, you don't have to be here. You know that, right? You don't have to be in this house.
It's complicated.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi.
Why? Dreaming. Wake up.
10
Wake up. Oh,
Mississippi.
God, no.
Ready or not? Here I come.
Ooh. Yeah, that was good. It's the definition of suspense. What is it? The anxious uncertainty about what may happen. But wait, before
That's really well put.
before we
That's
get
beautiful,
into that, though,
very
let's hear a little
poetic.
bit about you, Erik, so that our audience knows who you are.
The general, I'll give you the 2-sentence version. I grew up doing a lot of acting and theater, and then I transitioned into film and TV acting, and that ended up producing a lot of my own stuff with a production team that I was lucky to form here in Connecticut. And through that time, we've made a handful of shorts, one of which was turned into a television series called The Cobblestone Corridor that's nationally syndicated now and is the winner of 3 New England Emmy Awards. Long Lost is our company's first feature, and we just wrapped our second in June.
Great.
Let's put up this graphic that I had Mandy make, which is kind of a little bit about, let's start with what the genre is. Do you have that suspense graphic? There we go. So I wanted to kind of talk about, these different types of suspense and thrillers because, you say thriller, you say suspense, I say Hitchcock, but there's different kinds, So we got these murder mysteries, private eye tales, chase thrills, this women in danger film. I don't know what that's all about. We pulled that off the web. That's
It's an 80s term.
That's a thing. It's a thing. It's for sure a thing.
It's a thing, yeah.
Are there men in danger ones?
Courtroom and legal thrillers, erotic thrillers, surreal cult films, soap operas, and plot-twisting psychodramas. What is your movie?
I'd say we are a. Can I see the graphic again? Because there was
I say plot.
I
could be a couple of these.
I think we're some kind of cocktail of psychodrama, cult film, soap opera, erotic thriller, and women in danger. Some kind of with this kind of winkingness about it too. This sort of meta awareness of what it is.
Yeah. So what is a thriller really? I mean, you defined it, but it was like.
Well, it's more than just what I defined. I mean, there's a lot of layers to it, and it depends on what the plot is too,
Right.
Because like a horror movie, like an Aliens or something, that's that's got that suspense in it in portions, but it's way different than his movie, obviously. So, what do you mean by that?
I mean, first off, I talk to you on the phone, and I rarely do that with guests. I like to just kind of, I don't even like to know what the movie's about when I watch it. And I did not know what his movie was about when I watched it. And you got to watch that whole movie, man. That is
most people.
What?
Most people don't know what it's about for the first hour, and then that's sort of the idea, is that that's we and understandably to some people that's something that they might not have patience for, but I think the idea with us going in was that we wanted to create something that had this palpable sense of unease, where you might even be questioning like our motivations behind the camera as you're going, and then you sort of realize that it's all sort of by design, because much of the movie is a character study for the protagonist, to put him in situations just to see how he reacts and when he reacts and why he reacts. And in our own weird way, we wanted to do that with audiences. And so when we were doing film festivals last year, it was very fun to sort of watch this microcosm of different audiences and how they took different bits of the movie, and whether they started laughing at minute 2 or whether they realized it was funny 45 minutes in.
So Erik, while you were crafting this, I mean, it's sort of dangerous to almost go down that path where not a lot happens, or people are confused for most of the movie, where there are little bits, like what did you do to just make sure that people didn't leave, you know what I mean, to keep them in there, into it?
I think for me it came in one way. I mean, I'm very happy with the actors we have in this movie, and I think that each brings a kind of intensity to the moment. So the movie is about a young guy who gets a letter from an older half brother he never knew he had, inviting him to spend a long weekend at his mansion in the country. And I think what Adam does, Adam plays Seth, the younger guy, who he comes in with this optimism and this desire for family, for connectivity. And I think that that's something that a lot of people can be empathetic with. And then he's met with this brick wall of this older brother, played by Nicholas Tucci, who's definitely a horror stalwart. And he comes in with this brooding intensity that is just, I think, confusing and enigmatic and fun, but also sort of draws you in. So you're sort of caught in this in between. And I think that also gives way to some funnier moments too, if you realize in the first couple of minutes that we are not taking ourselves that seriously. And then about 15 minutes in, 20 minutes into the movie, there's what I think is many people's favorite scene in the movie, which is a game of Chubby Bunny on the back patio, which is just so sort of bizarre. Weird. And I think that, it's so weird, but I think that's what I think that I have found is what keeps a lot of people watching, because they see that scene, and even if they're a little confused after the first 20 minutes, they go, okay, I see.
You did some interesting things. Like, I think what keeps the people watching is you do these, well, first off, it's kind of this sort of, I don't know if I should say this, but it's the Shining meets Rear Window.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
Okay, well, you love that. That's cool.
We talked
but I mean, the flavor of that, because it has this sort of like big spooky house feel, yet there are Hitchcockian things where you see the imminent danger before it happens. There is a little bit of that.
We talked a lot about that early on, that we wanted the house to become its own character in the increasingly strange goings-on of the movie, and that we wanted it to be something that you never really understood the geography of in its totality, that it felt expansive but also claustrophobic at the same time. And a lot of that came with how Thompson and I decided to shoot it. Thompson's my cinematographer I've been working with for a long time, and we wanted to create things that felt deceptively simple, but also voyeuristic. So a lot of the coverage in the movie that Thompson decided to do is, on paper, simple coverage. It's singles in a really elegantly composed wide shot, but he and I worked a lot to make the blocking and the shot complementary, so that we could run out a whole scene on a wide and not necessarily have it be boring. In fact, we have one scene that's a 5.5 minute oneer at a dining room table, because we just want to allow the scene and the subtle imperfections to play. So what appears simple is very much a choice.
That builds anxiety, just that staying on a shot maybe like that's uncomfortable for a long time too, right?
Yeah, that was nice. I mean, you used the word deception. I mean, obviously you have this kind of, I don't want to call it a trick, but a reoccurring theme where you're deceiving the viewer. You're like, there's a section where you think that the one character's having sex with the other, and then he was caught, but and you're buying this, but they're just playing with you. You're just playing with us in many of these scenes. Let's take a look at another one, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Did you build this house?
Me and 74 Mexicans. Yeah. Yeah, it was a big project.
Yeah. How big is it?
Huge. Seriously. 14,124 square feet on 17 acres.
That sounds like a lot of house for one dude.
Ain't that the truth? You want?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
You don't drink?
I'm just good right now.
Did you bring the NDA?
Oh, yeah. I actually wasn't totally sure what to make of it.
Really? The language is very standard.
No, I mean, I just don't really know why you need it.
I value my privacy.
Sure. Yeah, no, I respect that.
And now, legally, you must. Oh, here, before I forget, Wi-Fi. Wouldn't want to miss one of your blog posts.
You know about that too, huh?
Like I said, Seth, the internet's a creepy place.
So that was an interesting question that he answered there. You said, they didn't hear, but Jens said to me, did you like the movie? And I said, it's one of these things that I liked later on because you're like absorbing it. Have you ever watched movies where you absorb the whole thing and then you're like, I got to think about this shit for a while. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it marinates and it gets better
as you retell it.
sometimes.
I mean, the story was different, and your act 3 is not a normal act 3. A normal act 3, your characters transition to page 70-ish.
No spoilers now.
I'm not spoiling anything. You have to thank God his characters transform, but the transformation happens later. Mm-hmm. And that's one model.
Way later than normal.
Yeah, it's not Planet of the Apes 1968 late. Where you learn about the entire movie in the last 15 seconds. I actually love that. Yeah. I've only seen it done twice well. Mm-hmm. That movie and a movie called 66. But I love when you do that because it forces the viewer, you get more anxious. And that's what you're trying to do, build suspense. It's like, when is he going to transform? Or when is this whole plot going to unfold? Mm-hmm. And you did that well, and that's what you're supposed to do. You made me watch it.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, you made me wait,
and you don't wait on anything.
I don't like that.
And that frustrates a lot of people. But I think, what to your guys' point, it is a very different movie the second time you watch it, and that was intentional. As we were developing the project, we wanted it to be something that, without spoiling it, after you finish the movie, you're in on it. So if you watch it again, or if you watch it with friends and show it to people, it's sort of an inside joke at that point. And I think many people do enjoy the movie more the second time around because they're seeing that we are setting up these chess pieces early on, in terms of even how we're shooting it and foreshadowing with that and little production design and acting choices things. It's all sort of there, but it is definitely underplayed at first go around. But it's because we want to just make it feel like something is off, but you don't quite know what it is.
I actually,
Can I just jump in here for a second?
Yeah.
The excuse me, sorry. That I think that some sort of, I don't want to, modern is a weird word, but the genre is definitely embracing films like this. Even I can tell, maybe Erik, you're a fan of the stuff from that poster behind your head right now, the Cabin in the Woods movie. And movies like Ex Machina and Us, where when you go back and watch it a second time, you're, like you said, you're in on the joke and you get to pick up clues that you might not have noticed first time. And maybe the way people watch films now, it's so easy to watch it 2 times, 10 times, it doesn't really matter. It all costs the same amount of money at the end of the day. So you can go back and catch those clues, and it's actively fun. So we sort of forgive being confused and maybe a little frustrated the first time we watch it, because the next time we get to be in on the joke.
Yeah, exactly. I think the first time you watch it, you're very much from our protagonist's perspective. He's entering the house. You don't know what's up. He doesn't know what's up. So you're experiencing all this for the first time. And then the second time you watch it, you're sort of behind the curtain with us, with the film people who have made the movie. So you're seeing it from that perspective. So for those who have watched it again, it's been a treat to sort of watch those perspectives shift and sort of see the increased amount of fun that people have if they watch the movie again.
Yeah, actually, until I just saw that clip, I forgot about the NDA part, and now the NDA part makes sense to me. I didn't get that. Well, it's because of the linearness of how you're telling the story. It's like, I do need to see it again, because now that makes totally sense to me. When I saw it,
It's twice the box office. That's good. Good
right.
thinking.
I mean, when I saw it the first time, I'm like, why is this dude? I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't care. And then I forgot about it. All right, let's show another clip and we'll get into it.
Camptown racists sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown racists 5 miles long, oh, doo-dah day, oh, doo-dah day, oh, doo-dah day. Bet all the money on a bobtail neck, somebody bet on the day. Hey! Oh, let me help you out there, thirsty.
No, Richard, I'm good, man. I don't get
there
drunk
ain't
like-
no
A little bit,
can't
a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. That's it, that's it.
I say when it's enough.
You guys, I just want to interrupt for a second and say that I am having actually a really good time with you.
Oh, I can't believe. Don't worry.
What?
Don't
What?
worry. Don't worry.
Where are you going? I think we'll probably die. I don't think we'll survive.
I don't know
this
how we'll
house.
ever survive.
We're not gonna die. We're not gonna die, because if we died, we wouldn't be able to play flashlight tag.
Dun dun dun.
I'm not playing flashlight.
Yes,
tag.
you are playing flashlight tag,
not
Brother
playing
Bear.
flashlight
And what's more is, you're it.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus can't help you, Seth. Piano's bass, 20 Mississippis,
Okay.
and you have to flash on the face in order for it to count.
And if I win, I get $100,000.
Yes.
Richard, I'm joking.
He's not.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 Mississippi, 17 Mississippi, 18 Mississippi, 19, 20 Mississippi. Ready or not, here I come.
Okay, I want to say, here's Johnny, because that part of the movie is where it all starts going crazy, man.
Yeah.
But that shot, you wanted to talk about that shot.
Well, I mean, this show originally was supposed to be about like cinematography techniques to build suspense, but obviously there's a lot more than just the cinematography that helps to build suspense. I mean, it starts with the writing. But curiously, in this shot, it was interesting because you start, you know, looking at the shelves and the bottles tipped over, and you start to fill in, you know, for people, like, or make them wonder, like, what's going on here? What's, you know, was there a fight? But you hear music, it's a little confusing.
Well, it's a party.
You start
know,
to unravel it for people, and then you see them at the piano. So that's a technique there. What about some other examples of the cinematography that maybe lent itself to building suspense?
I like this shot in particular because it is one of our longer oneers, and Thomas and I talked a lot about how to tell this story. There's a bit of a time jump from the afternoon. It comes to sort of a broody scene in the wine cellar where Richard, the older brother, is trying to convince Seth to drink with him, and he's playing on his emotions because there's some emotional tie-up with why he needs to drink this bottle of wine with him. And so we cut to that shot immediately after he makes the ask, and we see, Seth's face of indecision, and so we wanted to have it be a shot that told a story that we didn't need to see that whole intervening time. We just see the reaction after that. So I'm very happy with that, because it starts and you're starting to put the pieces together as that dolly shot is tracking, and then the reveal. And I love that we're holding on that for as long as we are, and that we sort of remind you that the camera is there and that it has been a oneer when we start to do that final push in towards Seth at the end when he's counting. Just because I think that if we had cut, it would have broken the suspense. And so Thompson and the G&E team worked together really well to make sure that we could, with our rig and in that tight space, tell that story and make that move right at the right time. But I think it's a really fun thing, and especially when the lights go out too. I love doing in-camera light gags, and so we had a small crew, but we figured out a way to make that happen and try to make it as realistic as possible, so that we go from this sort of warm glow to this dark fishbowl where this light is just cutting through everything.
I mean, yeah, it's like that thunder goes off, and it's like, okay, guys, this is Act 3 now. You literally announced that damn thing, and all hell breaks loose. And that's not the only oneer you did in there. There was another one that I really, really liked, where they're having that dinner scene.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like that's actually one of my favorite moments of the movie, and the story behind that is, in the film early on, maybe like 15 minutes in, there's a weird dinner scene, and the whole movie's about shifting dynamics. So it's 3 people but 6 different relationships. You have the 3 of them in a room, you have each pairing and each individual, and who they are changes based on who's in the room. So in that dinner scene, the older brother and his live-in girlfriend, who's much younger, sort of take on the role of mom and dad for Seth's homecoming. And so there's this really bizarre kind of formality to the whole dinner table scene, where Abby and Richard, the older brother and girlfriend, are dressed up a little bit too nicely, and Seth's just in a hoodie gorging himself on food. And we were shooting out the wide in that scene, and it was so really beautifully composed, and I didn't know where I was going to cut. And so we got to the end of, I don't know what it was, one of the first few takes, and I walked up to Thompson and I said, I don't know where I'm going to cut. He said, can we do it in one? And I said, yeah, I think we should do it in one. So I walked up to the actors and was like, guys, can we do it in one? They said, yeah, bring it on. And so we just reevaluated. We added a couple of little moves just to compensate for actor movement. And we did that. And it's sort of, you get these amazing oneers that you can talk about in cinema. You look at like the Children of Men thing with that opening shot, and it's really beautifully composed, and they're steady and all that stuff. But in my mind, there's something really cool about just making a single well-composed shot, letting the actors do their thing, and just being there, because I think that there's something very impressive about that with all the amazing modern day special effects and visual effects that we have now, to be able to just set up a shot and dance with the actors and just let it low-key happen.
It's a pacing thing.
Well,
really cool.
it does one other thing. I mean, you're now watching this as a play. So it's like I'm sitting at that table with them because I don't have any other perspective. So it's a lot like, well, Rope was different, because you
We've
were
gotten
moving.
Rope before, yeah.
But the point is it becomes a play. And I was actually watching it with Mick, and he said the same thing. He's like, he had some Australian term that I've never heard, but I was watching with a friend of mine, and
Cool.
you are watching it as a play at that point. You're just seeing something unfold from one point of view. I really like that, and that's,
thank you.
In a thriller, that's a wonderful thing to do as a break like that.
Well, because you're being stuck in there and you can't get out.
Yeah, exactly. In a way, you are kind of like that.
That's the whole thing with the camera's positioned essentially where the fourth person at the dinner table would be, and so you're looking at it almost. It's not a POV shot, but it's sort of a POV shot where you're it's like you're stuck at a dinner table with people that you can't really chime in with, but you can't really move, and all you can do is just sort of watch it get awkward. And so yeah, it is a play. You just have a front row seat to this
voyeuristic
weird family dynamic, and I think that the play thing may or may not be thematically relevant for those who haven't seen the movie. So I will, that's again a little low-key foreshadowy nod that people may or may not pick up on upon second watch or
I
reflection.
think we have one more clip, don't we?
Cool.
Let's watch one more
I mean,
clip.
we do. Yeah.
Good morning, Sleepy. Just in time for dinner.
What?
It's 5 p.m.
Oh. Shit, I slept all day.
Here. You need this more than I do. It's tomato juice. You don't trust me? Listen, Seth. I don't want to cross any lines here. I realize that I'm sort of on probation with you right now, but I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that you really disappointed Abby last night. I mean, she was really putting herself out there for you.
She told you about that?
Oh, yeah, she came to bed all deflated. I asked her what was wrong, and she told me.
Jesus. Richard, I'm sorry, man. She
Don't
came
beat
in...
yourself up about it, but do give it some thought between now and dinner. She thinks it would really help you. And plus, it'd be fun for her.
What?
If you want, I could even be there in the room. Show you how everything works.
Are you fucking serious?
Seth, relax. I'm not trying to freak you out here. I'm just saying, if you want somebody to be in the room to show you how to work the cameras, I'm happy to do it. If you don't, that's fine. Do the fucking photo shoot yourself. I don't care.
Photo shoot.
Yeah, for Blink. She said you were working on a business plan, too, which is great. I'm happy to go through that and redline it for you if you want.
That's really nice, Richard. I gotta think about it.
Sure. Sit with it.
Yeah, I will. Oh, that last clip was an example of
We're
what
talking about it while it's happening.
Yeah. No, but remember you mentioned earlier about that how the audience is being misled. You know.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, and how you're sort of getting anxious because you know what's going. Anyway.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you, Erik, though, was specifically what are some of the different techniques that you use to build suspense? You know, for our audience here to kind of grab onto, like, how can you describe some of the specific things you consciously went in doing? I guess it's not just in cinematography; it's in the writing, sound, a lot of the things, right?
Yeah, from the get-go, the house definitely inspired the movie. We were lucky to have access to this house through a mutual connection, and we tailored the movie based on the available resources that we had. So I wrote the story with Adam, who stars in the movie, and my brother Carson, and we produced it together. And we wanted it to be something that, again, the house became its own character, sort of like in The Shining, or we looked at Ex Machina, we looked at The Invitation, stuff like that, where there is this slow, methodical burn, where there is this feigned sense of normalcy, even though your gut is telling you that there isn't. And in the writing, I wanted it to be something where people are doing things that are clearly setting off alarm bells for you, but they can always caveat it. They can always write it off. Oh, he's just being a little bit too friendly. Oh, he's just nervous. Oh, he just is damaged and he's just saying things. And, we can forgive that. We can forget that. But in the back of your mind, you're always like, no, I really think that there's something wrong here. So I wanted to just keep planting those seeds, like in that scene that you just saw, where there is something unsaid, and he's always caveating with something else. So that was in the writing portion until shit inevitably hits the fan. And then in the cinematography, I think it is shooting the house in such a way where it feels huge and claustrophobic at the same time by doing the deceptively simple coverage. We do a lot of oneers, like we talked about. We do a lot of, you didn't see it in these clips, a lot of dolly shots where the dolly is leading and the actor is walking toward camera, and then there's a reveal after that. Just things that just feel like you're walking with someone, so you can really feel the breadth of the scene. That it's just little things like that.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you a couple quick questions, because a lot of our viewers want to know, what camera did you use to shoot it with?
We shot on the Alexa Mini.
And how did you do the sound? Was a lot of it looped, or was it shot with body mics, or was it shot with boom mics?
We shot with both. Everybody was laved, and we had boom as well. Did a little bit of ADR, but most of our coverage was from lav and boom. There was a scene. There are several scenes where people aren't wearing a ton of clothes, as is the case with these kind of movies. So we relied on boom and ADR for that.
Yeah, I
But
felt like
primarily
the audio was.
audio.
I felt like the audio was very close. Especially with the main character, that it felt like it was from a body mic.
I think much of it in the mix ended up being from body mics for, as I've seen, it is the way with a lot of like TV, just because room tone when you're shooting on location. And we shot this very quickly too. We shot this in 10 days, so we were cruising.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
While we're on this topic, you guys, Eric, you just answered one question we had, but Nick also had a question. He says he loves the lighting, by the way. And did you use any specific favorite lenses while we're on this gear topic?
I am forgetting what we shot on. I'd have to ask Thompson. I think that we had a wish list of lenses, and we ended up recalibrating a little bit just based on availability. I don't remember the exact set that we shot on, but the situation with this movie was the house actually sold before we were planning to shoot it, and we were like, okay, well, we're going to do this now because we have limited access. So we ended up getting together what we could and making some shifts based on availability. But thanks for the lighting shout out. They did we had a limited package, and those guys did like a really admirable creative job, like
sometimes less
making
is
the
more.
house look right. Yeah, I mean, it had to. I know we relied for the lighting. I believe I'm going to be correct in this, and they can correct me once they watch this if I'm wrong, but we relied a lot on quasar tubes, especially for the nighttime exteriors.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody wants to watch your movie, where can they watch it?
It's streaming for free on Amazon Prime right now, also free on Tubi TV. It's on iTunes, it's on Google Play, it's in YouTube rentals. We're going to have a Blu-ray release in a few months. Vudu, and I think there may be others forthcoming, but yeah, those are the main platforms. Free on Amazon Prime and free with ads on Tubi TV.
Okay, Erik, thanks so much for being a guest. I really enjoyed your movie, and I recommend that people see it. Mm-hmm. The script itself is a interesting model to study on how to create I'm going to call it a non-formulaic script. Yeah,
I'll take that.
That's unusual for me.
Yeah.
And I hate non-formulaic scripts. I always say that, but I liked this one.
Right. That's saying a lot,
Well,
Erik. You don't know. You don't realize.
I hate everything.
Well, I'll take that. Well, our next one is decidedly different, I think. Our next one is fast-paced, straight-up horror, sort of like an extended episode anthology show that we're really excited about. So it'll be fun to have the dichotomy between the two.
We look forward to it, and maybe we'll do a show about it before you actually even shoot it. I would love that.
Great.
Okay, we're going to turn it over to Rachel to wrap us out.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Erik. It was a pleasure to have you. A big thank you to ICANN, who provide all the lighting for our show, and to our sponsors, Canon, Rode Mics, and Tesla Crane. We will see you in a few weeks with the next show. Bye.